I personally have enormous subscription fatigue. I see this number $5 and $10 a month. I'm not doing it. I'm not paying the extra $3 to Spotify. I'm not paying the extra $7.99 to Hulu. I mean, every freaking day there's another one.
What's the world coming to? God help us.
Hey, this is God. I just want to let you know your subscription to Life needs to be renewed. So pay up or go to hell.
I think I'll just let this one lapse.
Here comes the 8K to the CEDIA market, improving upgrade opportunities and paying for AI Alexa. All that and more next on ResiWeek. This is ResiWeek, episode 438, recorded Monday, July 1st, 2024. Subscription fatigue. This is ResiWeek, the look at the residential and CI part of the AV industry. My name is Tim Albright. No, I am not Matt Scott, but for the second week in a row, I get to sit in his chair, and I have got a star-studded group to talk with me. First and foremost, Jason Knott with D-Tools. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
Absolutely. Also with us is Joe Whitaker, who is with Origin Acoustics and is somewhat local to me. How are you, brother?
Doing well, doing well.
And last but not least, a young man who is at CEDIA, the organization. His name is Mitchell Klein. Welcome, sir.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Good Lord. I don't have to do anything today. Like, really.
Nope, we're done.
I can just say, here's the topics, gents, and y'all talk, and I'll just sit back here and drink my tea. No, seriously, this is gonna be awesome. First thing we got is interesting report. Amazon is reportedly developing something called quote unquote remarkable Alexa. I'll get to the name in a second, which is a more advanced AI powered version of the smart home companion. According to Reuters, this upgraded Alexa could come with a monthly subscription fee of $5 to $10, marking a significant shift in Amazon's strategy. Now, this new service is part of something called Project Banyan, aims to leverage generative AI to handle complex tasks like email, composition, and streamlined food ordering. With features like personalized routines and adaptive learning, remarkable Alexa represents Amazon's attempt to stay competitive in the rapidly evolving landscape. Now, Jason, I'm going to start with you on this. Not only does it bring Amazon into AI front-facing, right? Consumer-facing. They've already been a part of AI. They're heavy investors in a couple of different generative AI companies. But that $5 to $10 monthly subscription fee, where some folks were mentioning the fact that, hey, why don't you just wrap that into Prime, right, which is their annual thing. This marks a departure there as well if they keep this, right? So you've got AI with your Alexa. You've got a possible new subscription model from Amazon, which, again, separating it from there. First question is, where does AI belong in these home assistance, home automation systems?
Well, the one thing that I thought was interesting about this article is it kind of cited some of the use cases for the Alexa or remarkable Alexa, which, by the way, I read Alexa is the fastest shrinking baby name of all time in terms of kids not being named
I can imagine
something named Alexa anymore. But I was interesting, the examples that they chose, several of them were what we would call home automation examples. So I sit there and go, okay, the general consumer who's going to buy an Alexa and is going to tell it to create the shopping list or do a timer for the oven, all those functions that we hear, or play a Pandora station or whatever it might be. But they're taking it, it sounds like to me like a lot of the AI functionality is going to be home automation oriented, which is interesting because we know that there's a company, Josh, out there, Josh AI, that is really targeting the custom installation community and doing a great job of it. And are we going to see integrators migrate even more to Josh because they're going to run into customers who are like, well, I want home automation functionality, but I don't want to pay another $5 or $10 a month? Because we're already seeing now, or at least hearing a lot of pushback from the integrators regarding the recurring revenue model that they would have to go with their customers, or is that going to go directly through them? Or are they going to become resellers and get skin in the game there? There's all sorts of things that would have to take place for the integrator to really embrace this AI functionality. But to answer your question, I think the future of the voice control AI element is going to be in these home automation functions versus creating an email for me or writing an email for me or some of the other examples that they use, which I don't see people doing a lot, in my opinion.
Whitaker, you've got an interesting perspective here because when Joe, before he joined Origin Acoustics, had a home automation, home integration service company called The Thoughtful Home. And there was a moment in time where you were delivering and giving out Echo Dots to clients and potential clients.
Yeah.
So this could go one of two ways. Either Joe Whitaker is prescient and can see the future and saw a future where Amazon Alexa was AI, or you were just the luckiest son of a gun I've ever met. I'm not sure which.
It's luck. I'd rather be luck than skilled any day. But seriously, that little exercise was just kind of, it was a crystal ball thing, right? Yeah. Because it came in hot. It was perfect size to do things like that. So that was a good move. And they were kind of first to market in something that actually worked, right? Within that. But then you look at this and there's like a couple of points in there that are good. Some are bad. They named it Remarkable Alexa. I'm guessing because Josh AI was already taken. So, I mean, we got that going for us. The subscription model. Okay, there's another thing. So I know people talk about subscription fatigue, but if you already pay $10 a month for like crappy music or whatever for some crappy service, why wouldn't you pay something for something actually smart? If they're really going to tie, AI in this, we know there's going to be some form of like ChatGPT or something in there so that there's actually a little more intelligence. So why wouldn't you pay a subscription for a smart person rather than some singer that's going to make you think they're smart when they accept their award and, tell you to save the ponies or whatever. So, I mean, I believe they might be going in the right direction, but to Jason's point, the Josh AI thing is starting to take it off. It is starting to be embraced by the custom channel, and don't think for 1 second that Amazon is not watching them. So they go, okay, we'll do monthly license instead of a yearly or lifetime software fee, right? Yeah. We'll just monthly you to death forever in perpetuity, but it looks like a smaller amount. So where they're going with it, if done right, I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea, because these are the people that are not necessarily the people who are buying Alexa now. They're typically not the CI customer anyways, right? So they're trying to figure out, I just need to be able to talk to my Sonos or my Samsung TV or my Ring cameras or whatever the case may be. Those are the guys that they're going to Best Buy and buying a TV. They'll buy an Alexa. They want a little bit of smarts in it, a little bit of voice. They're not the CI crowd anymore. Amazon kind of, I can't say the term I want to use, but they kind of messed that one up a while back, right? So it's not really a custom move anymore. It is so that there is a DIY consumer version of what is really taking hold in the custom installation space. That's kind of my take on it.
Well, and Mitch, this actually brings in that nicely into what I was going to ask you is you told, good Lord, this is 10 years ago, I think. You were talking about the do it yourself, do it for me, and then that middle area, do it with me, right? And is that where AI fits into this whole thing, or is it something completely different and it's just its own entity and we're going to have to watch it from afar?
Yeah, I want to speak to two things. I'll talk to that one first. And absolutely, the beauty of AI in that application, especially when we're talking about smart home, is that the user doesn't have to be that smart to set it up. Bingo. I mean, it's as simple as that. As far as AI in general and all of these subscriptions, I can tell you, I personally have enormous subscription fatigue. I see this number $5 and $10 a month. I'm not doing it. I'm not paying the extra $3 to Spotify. I'm not paying the extra $7.99 to Hulu. I mean, every freaking day there's another one. And as far as Jason's comment in terms of where AI belongs, I absolutely subscribe to, yep, there's another one. I don't know if you've tried the Grammarly yet, because I do a ton of emails and just lets me write real quick, not have to overthink it. And then it just kind of says, what the hell were you thinking? And kind of fixes it. So AI actually has a really good spot to make sure you don't send the wrong message out with your text messages or with your emails. To me, that's the value. To pay Amazon or others an extra $5 or $10 a month so that their LLM, the large learning modules, are going to learn from what I teach them. They're already learning from what I teach them. I mean, they should be paying me $5 to $10 a month for it.
That's
so. I mean, take a look at this. There is a company in the early stage startup mode by a buddy of mine who's actually putting together a company that will actually enable you to capitalize on the things that you're providing for free. So stay tuned for that. But you're going to start seeing, I believe you're going to start seeing a lot of pushback. And it's only starting with Amazon, but also understand that if you make a product today and you put it into the marketplace today, especially if it's a smart home, you have to constantly be updating and upgrading from a security perspective. And that means that you can't ever really count on the profit from the gross margin you make on selling a box. So you're going to see more and more of these subscriptions coming out in order to maintain some level of profitability for manufacturers. Yeah. So I know I got off topic a little bit, but
no. I mean,
Amazon's just getting there.
Is you've got all software in general, right? And is becoming a more and more part of the importance and the security and the feature set of boxes, right? Just generically boxes. You're right. They have to pay for that somehow. The flip side of that is both IT departments and consumers are becoming weighed down by just another $1.99. All right.
Yep. Just again, you build a door lock out there, you can't just send it out and be done with it. You're constantly having to update the security.
Oh, yeah.
How do you maintain a business like that? Yeah, subscription.
All right. Henry Clifford is a wealth and well of knowledge and source of content here on ResiWeek. Writes an article exploring the power of 3 simple words, quote unquote, did you know? Clifford journaled about the time, his time being spent on site in the early days of his company, where he would look around and say, hey, did you know that you could update that? Hey, did you know you can control your fireplace or your waterfall or whatever? Obviously, Clifford is no longer on site. So through trial and error, he developed strategies to incentivize his staff, from on-site upsell sheets to a referral program that rewards curious technicians. Now, as Livewire, his company, ventures into lighting and electrical with its own light source division, Clifford is doubling down on the did you know approach, arming installers with easy talking points to spot and seize upgrade opportunities. Mr. Whitaker, we'll start with you on this. How do you keep that personal touch, that touch that obviously Henry had with his clients, because he was on site and he was the one pulling the wire and installing it? How do you keep that personal touch as you scale up, as you grow, as you expand?
There's a couple of companies that I learned that part from just by watching. Best Buy and DirecTV, they did it at least a while back. Even Spectrum, Charter Spectrum, they don't do this any longer, but incentivizing in a different way, right? Because an employee is an employee, right? They're in it for the money. If any employee ever says I'm in it for the passion, they're lying through their teeth. They're trying to get that next buck. And when you have, you already incentivized maybe for early project completions, sign-off sheets, customer satisfaction, all of those kind of things, the upsell or the what ifs, those other things that you can do, those have to be incentivized separately. DirecTV and those kind of providers had a thing where they had a sheet, upgraded HDMI cables, you get this if you sell 1 or 3. TV mounts, you upgrade them to an articulating arm mount, you get X amount more. So incentivizing them and kind of a la carte shopping cart manner is a way to motivate them. And then how do you teach them to do that better? That's when you get them to start saying the things that you say, because it has to, in every successful business, when they scale and grow, we've all seen a ton of them. It looks the same, feels the same, smell the same, sound the same. Like it has to be passed down. And a lot of times that's in sales trainings. That's like standardized sales sheets. It's like the one most famous closing line in all of history in any kind of selling, whether it's a car or a timeshare, is cash, check, or credit card, which is best for you. It gets drilled into people's heads and they start saying the exact same thing that you taught them to say.
Yeah, Joe, was also, you want fries with that?
Yes, you want fries with that. Exactly. Those kind of things. You know, there was a corporate guy at the very top who used to actually make those fries and said, you say this. And when you say this, I'll give you an extra nickel if they buy. So it's teaching them to sound just like you. You have to make all your outward facing people be an almost mimic reflection of yourself, because that keeps brand value. And for all those people out there, Tim, you know, my company used to be called Joe Whitaker Designs. And I was like, someday I want to sell it. I got to get my name off of it. But that personality has to stay. You cannot have an exit strategy unless the people you live behind have the same beliefs, say the same things, charge the same way as you did in the beginning, or we see companies crumble after the founder leaves.
Yeah, I love this idea, and this is a gem of an idea. And just to pick up on Joe's point, I know a lot of integrators who incentivize specific devices. So plug-in CO detectors, they carry extra ones in the truck, battery-powered smoke detectors, they carry extra ones in the truck, and they'll give the technicians a good incentive percentage on those individual sales. But this one I thought was really unique, because he's not saying sell an individual device, just take a picture of what you think might be a potential upgrade and then pass it along to our sales team. And then if that comes to fruition, then you're going to get a commission on it. So he's trying to make it even easier than them actually trying to sell that CO detector or that smoke detector. So I thought this was a great idea. I love that Henry keeps putting these gems out, because every integrator, like Joe said, has run into this situation probably as they've tried to grow, where they not become the primary communicator with the customer anymore, and they've got a team out there. And this is just a great idea. These are the sorts of ideas, Mitch, that you get when you're walking the aisles at CEDIA Expo, or you're sitting in those peer-to-peer meetings at CEDIA Expo, or any of the buying group meetings. This is why that communication is so important, and I'm thankful that Henry's writing these great columns.
Well, and that actually, first of all, Henry could probably just retire and just be a consultant for some of these companies, and he might end up doing that. Mr. Klein, same question to you. You know, what other areas or ideas can you give? Because, you know, as Jason and Joe already said, as these companies grow, you lose that on-site personal connection. You have to processize these systems. You have to not only incentivize, but you have to put them into the process of what happens when you get sign off, when you are, you know, turning over the keys to the new AV system.
Yeah, I could go down a long-winded rabbit hole on that one. Believe me, not the least of which is providing some type of ongoing communication via service. Just, again, that's been talked about ad nauseum and needs to be continued to be discussed. Because back in the day, I always recall the reason why dealers didn't go back to their customers was they were afraid what they were going to hear. And hopefully we've gotten past that by now. But the real opportunities, and again, this goes back from my early days as a custom installer, right? That you're always looking ways to do more with the same customers without growing the base too far by just simply adding more. And early on, it was adding, cabling infrastructure. It was adding lighting control, which is now suddenly becoming very popular. So those are the kinds of things you need to be looking at. You're out on a job site, take a picture of the 6 dimmers in a row when you enter into the house and, send that off. I mean, they're really low-hanging fruit to be able to provide additional value to the kind of work that you can do. And there's so many more opportunities. And just look at, what CEDIA is offering, all the different trainings on those topics. Big lighting sessions going to be coming out as well, but it's a lot more than that. So, Henry's right.
All right. Speaking of CEDIA, CEDIA Expo is gearing up to be a showcase for 8K technology. Thanks to an expanded partnership with the 8K Association, the Expo is aiming to educate integrators on the potential of 8K content. We'll get to that in a second. They are taking a center stage, offering demonstrations, a special smart stage session, and a new white paper to highlight the evolving 8K landscape. With the production community embracing 8K's capabilities, CEDIA Expo organizers hope that this focus will empower professionals to leverage the technology for future business opportunities. Obviously, CEDIA Expo is co-located with Commercial Integrator Expo on September the 4th. September in Denver. We will be there. Actually, everybody on this call will be there in Denver in September. Jason, start with you on this, dude. When it comes to 8K, I have been a proponent every time we jump a resolution to ask where the content is. So where are we with 8K needs, 8K wants, 8K desires in the marketplace? Or are we pushing, this up a hill?
Yeah, well, if you read when you read the article, it actually even has a quote in there from somebody from the 8K Association who says the lack of compatible content and distribution platforms still do not exist. And I want to pivot this question to Mitch because you mentioned, Tim, the CI Expo in co-location with CEDIA Expo. I feel, and I don't know if I got a two-part question. One is, do we think that this is really the 8K Association trying to put a little more outreach to the manufacturers who are going to be at CEDIA, who are there with their projectors that may not have 8K chipsets in them, and or displays, and or switchers, or whatever it might be to be compatibly carry 8K? Is it really an influence on that group, and is it really an influence on the commercial side? Because I see video walls and digital signage and those sorts of areas where you're going to have proprietary 8K content for on the commercial side much more prevalent than you might be on the resi side. So I think it's strategically a good move by the 8K, but I think it's really more of a message to the manufacturers who are at CEDIA Expo and the commercial integrators who might be there. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree.
Yeah, I can jump on that if that's okay. Yeah. You're obviously all aware that CEDIA sold the show to Emerald several years ago.
Yes.
The relationship between CEDIA and Emerald has gotten much, much, much better. And there's very good communication between the two. And what I can tell you is that Emerald's looking to make the Expo as much a technology show as it is a product show. And what that means is there's a requirement. You need to introduce the technologies to all of the stakeholders. So Jason, you're absolutely right. You want to introduce 8K. You want to introduce it to the dealers. You want to introduce them to the manufacturers and to all in between. There's also a connectivity pavilion that's being put together. Again, that's focusing on the technologies. So you'll be able to see the products and then the actually technologies behind them, and then technologies that are still being incubated at this point in time. And the 8K is a perfect example.
So I might be jaded, which is fine. I might be a little insulated, which is also fine.
I'm both of those, by the way. Just saying.
Do they need introduced to 8K? Like, really? Like, do they not know it exists? Do they not know it's a thing?
Maybe it's one of those things like, hey, look at this.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I couldn't tell you.
All right, I'll give you that. But, and all of us on this call, and I'm looking at all of us, are old enough to remember when the first 1080, right, the first HD came out. And at that time, for those of you that were not around or conscious at that time, there was an HD channel, right? Because it was such a new thing. There was an HD channel, and it was gorgeous, right? It was fantastic. When you're jumping from 480 even to 720, it was a huge jump. And there was a channel, and all it showed you was HD content. That was it. Typically, it was like nature stuff, right? It was an eagle.
Wasn't that channel called HDNet?
Yeah, HDNet, right? So, but we don't have that, and there are various reasons.
And in the residential space, I think the big point is being missed, because this is a macro question, not a micro question. So great that Expo and all them, they're going to show 8K. The problem is your main three companies that produce movies right now are Amazon, Netflix, and Disney. All of those utilize online transport methods, which currently cannot support resolutions up to 8K, right? So you're stuck. You got a trunk, right? They could push it and you could download it like used to do old school. But the problem is they are going to make movies for the formats they support, which is Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Disney Plus. That is their outlets. Unless it's some big blockbuster like a Marvel movie, they're never going to produce content in 8K. And those are the big three right now. Apple TV as well. Apple TV as well. They're now starting to do a lot of actually really good movies. Also, their format does not support 8K. So until somebody comes up with, fiber directly to your TV instead of just your home, the transport method is not there for the masses to actually produce the content needed for 8K. So to Jason's point, yes, 8K is 100% commercial. It is a commercial product. That's how you're going to do extra super large formatted displays that are the size of buildings, and you to actually be able to see it when you're 25 foot away, right? That's where it's going to come into play. In residential, until infrastructure supports it, it won't have a shot. Same thing as everybody driving electric cars. It's never going to happen until the infrastructure supports it.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, on that note, I can't let the cat out of the bag in details, but the keynote speaker for Expo should be able to address that. And I will leave it at that. But let's make sure.
Electric cars or 8K?
8K.
Okay.
Should be able to. I'll certainly make sure that it'll be one of the questions posed to him up front so he can speak to it. But that's a great point, Joe, and I would love to hear his take on it.
So what studio is he from?
Can't
So
you're gonna have to
you said he.
I will already lose all the friends I've made at CEDIA if I tell you that.
Oh, not
just
all of them.
So what you're saying is Joe Whitaker is not the keynote speaker.
Yo, yes. Well, you never know. No.
Oh no, I think that's a pretty safe bet. All right. On that note, thank you all so much, Mr. Jason Knott. How do people connect with you or D-Tools?
You can go to D-Tools. It's d-tools.com, or you can reach me via email, jasonkay@d-tools.com.
All right. Good to see you, and we'll see him at CEDIA. Mitch Klein, thank you, sir. How do people connect with you or CEDIA, the organization?
Yes, come see me, mklein@cedia.org. And I look forward to seeing all of you at Expo coming up in September.
Absolutely. We will be there with the big blue bear. Mr. Whitaker, thank you, sir. How do people connect with you or Origin Acoustics?
I am Joe Whitaker, no hyphen. I am not a hyphen. So you can find me I love direct contact, by the way. Feel free to email me directly, joe@originacoustics.com. You can find us at originacoustics.com and originpro.com, as well as on the good old social medias at Joe Whitaker.
Right, very good. My name is Tim Albright. Don't follow me anywhere because I'm not very exciting. You can go follow Matt D. Scott on the X or whatever. But go by the website, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. If you want to hear my voice more talking about the commercial side of the industry, that's where you can find me. That's a program I do called AV Week. Posts every Monday. We also have one about higher education, about programming and automation, and a whole lot more. So you can find that all at AVNation.tv. It's AVNation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That's all the time we have for ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.